So Ian, I appreciate you joining the discussion today at Open RAN Forum. And first and foremost, I was just hoping you could give us an idea of how VIAVI Solutions is helping vendors and operators ensure that Open RAN equipment is commercially robust and can really scale up quickly to handle large amounts of traffic.
No problem. Thanks for the opportunity. So firstly, as you've probably heard many industry exponents talk about, ORAN and Open RAN is a disruptive industry game changer. It brings with it a lot of complexity. There's going to be a lot of new entrants, and with that, fierce competition. In my view, to be successful in ORAN and Open RAN, the systems must deliver a lower cost solution than the conventional approach. And for that, I think it's important that the players focus on their core strengths. And for VIAVI, that's test and measurement. So we have decades of experience supporting what we now are going to deliver and are delivering as our ORAN and Open RAN solution. And we have a class-leading end-to-end set of tools that emulate and test all the essential nodes, interfaces, and elements of ORAN, and increasingly the broader topic of Open RAN.
So you mentioned the reduction in capex associated with disaggregated radio systems, and there's also optionality for operators. They can pick and choose the best of breed solutions, then stitch together a multi-vendor radio access network. As they go through that process, what are some of the challenges operators should keep in mind? And maybe you can tell us how VIAVI helps them understand and mitigate those challenges.
I think the biggest challenge is going to be interoperability. Standards go so far, but standards are open to interpretation, and sooner or later these elements have got to come together and be tested. Now, a number of players are going to offer integration houses to do this, but I think in many respects it's going to come down to the test and measurement players to ensure that there is this interoperability. And also to be able to offer this interoperability into a cost-effective and scalable manner. And I think the independent nature of a test and measurement house that, like VIAVI, that will be able to converse with a number of customers, help our customers at their point of integration, will give that gold standard that the industry needs to ensure interoperability. So, for example, VIAVI is now already working with nearly all, if in fact all of the major network equipment manufacturers, a large number of the system integrators and service providers. So we believe with our unique offering of lab, field install, maintenance, and assurance test tools, the VIAVI is very well placed to offer this ecosystem the necessary support to solve that interoperability problem.
Yeah, maybe we can explore that ecosystem point a little bit more. If we look at the way that Open RAN specifications were developed through the ORAN Alliance and other groups, and then the way these systems are being deployed, by very nature, it's got to take an ecosystem when you're talking multiple vendors working together. But I'm curious to hear from you, what does it take for our industry to make sure that that ecosystem stays robust and continues to push forward? And what is the role of any individual company in contributing to that?
So I think, ecosystems are critical into the success of Open RAN. No one's going to be able to do this alone. That the whole idea of the disaggregation is that you're going to drive down cost and bring up a competition. So companies and players are going to have to work together. They're going to have to collaborate to ensure that the end user, who is going to demand a lower cost and high quality experience, is satisfied. With any project, a project is about a focus on scope, a focus on time, and a focus on quality. And for a project to be successful, all the team members have to play together. In this case, we'll call that an ecosystem. So the ecosystem players become effectively a project team. And that project team must work together. And I think what VIAVI can do is offer the support again in the integration, but also with elements of test as a service, supporting lab as a service, software as a service, and again, focusing on the development of test peers, gold standard test peers, that will help these project teams, these ecosystems, deliver, as I say, what must be cost-effective, high-quality experiences for end users.
And my final question, Ian, when we think about where 5G is going to create new revenue streams for operators, it's pretty clear this is going to flow from enterprises. But at the same time, there's this sort of tension in enterprise 5G between customization and replicability of deployment configurations. And then there's also some gray areas around business model and what's going to win out in the market. But I'm curious, in the context of enterprise 5G, what's the role of test and measurement? How can test and measurement make that a reality?
Well, I think when you look at private networks, that's going to bring in a lot of new network owners. For sure, service providers are going to, I'm sure, offer the opportunity to install and run services for these enterprises. But essentially, with security, these enterprises have got to take ownership of these networks. So these new players are going to need guidance. They're going to need support. They're going to need simplified interfaces. They're going to need simplified test tools. And I think, again, this is where it's going to come into a very cost-effective implementation, which is going to give the security and the performance that they're looking for. So I think the test and measurement role, again, is very much, as I said before, the cost-effective, scalable solutions. But I think also they're going to need to be simplified tools, not because these people aren't savvy and intelligent, but because this is going to be a new sector for them to get into. And as we see increasing convergence of cellular and IT skills, these guys aren't going to necessarily be interested in the kind of capex associated with the turn up of a large scale network. They're going to want to see a simplified a turn up and maintenance program. So I think that what we will be doing is tailoring some of our IP, packaging it into simplified tools, easy, simple user interfaces, and combining the bare bones necessary tests to bring a network up to speed and give that new network owner the confidence that their system will work.
Well, Ian, it's really an exciting time for Open RAN. I appreciate you joining us here at the forum to share your perspective and keep us up to date on the work VIAVI's doing.
Great, thank you very much, Sean.